but I'm very happy to join this group with our cascade of the Council of Europe. I will try to be very brief to leave the space for discussion. And we are coming here exactly with our niche of social technological dimension, more social than technological, let's say. Dr. Ebrahimi mentioned Seoul Declaration, which was adopted yesterday. We are also now, Council of Europe is now in Seoul with our Deputy Secretary General was present in the launch of this declaration, which is a very important instrument for us because it's not only endorsed social technical dimension, but refers a lot to international standards, human rights standards. And this is exactly where I stand with the Council of Europe and our AI Framework Convention. But not only because if we take a zoom big on the Council of Europe work on regulations, I would mention that we're on the edge between rule of law, states dimension of democracy, rights, human rights, and technologies. I would say since 1970s, the first Convention on Personal Data Protection, and the only one is now, which still exists in the world, it's coming from the Council of Europe. Then we had bioethics, Oviedo Convention, the Cybercrime Convention was until this year where UN adopted Hanoi Instrument, also the only one which was bridging the edge of the social technological dimension, but also in the question of animal lab experimentation. So there are quite a good bulk of perspective, human rights perspective on different technological advancements on behalf of Council of Europe. And indeed, this is where we can stand with a bridge to the standards, because it is the most crucial element. And this is the biggest challenge for this discussion and forthcoming. And we see the AI Framework Convention as a good frame for countries to be in a forum and cooperating together around all major macro issues related to AI introduction in the society. So if you look at the provisions of the convention, you have AI literacy, the build-up of oversight bodies in the countries, transborder cooperation, of course, an exchange of good practices, and the two most important elements which I will highlight right now is, of course, risk impact assessment, but from the perspective of human rights, rule of law, and democracy, in our case, and remedies, because we didn't speak a lot about remedies. But if we look at the social scandals which were already and political scandals which were provoked by AI use already in public sector, so the issues of remedies will come quite seriously at stake in the future. And although we don't see yet a big emergence of jurisprudence related to the trustful, legally and reasonable use of AI systems, it is coming. We had a first case in the European Court of Human Rights last two weeks ago on the state responsibility on the environmental impact, and legally by mutatis mutandis, this could be another. The first piece and brick of jurisprudence, which would probably impact later the possible cases which are in the pipeline for European Court of Human Rights for AI impact assessment on the society. So for us, this regulatory instrument is very important, and we believe that it would not only support homogeneous international approach between like-minded states, but also will also have a very interesting work for EU colleagues who were present in this session, because between personal data protection and GDPR, this convention could be a bridge between EU AI Act and other countries which are not in the European region. Where now this instrument was signed now by European Union and 17 states, including Australia, USA, Canada, Japan, among others. Uruguay is the latest signature. There are some new coming signatures in December, January. So on regulatory basis, we really believe in stroke and hope for strong promotion of this instrument. If we go to the standards and connectivity between socio-technical dimension, I think this risk impact assessment, which is for us Article 16 of our convention, would be at the core of the discussions. And indeed, there are many different impact assessments, methodologies, models which were developed, but we also did ourselves area risk impact assessment methodology, and just in November we finished the concrete templates for questions which have to be asked from perspective of human rights. For us, that would be the most crucial point, also for this connectivity between social technical standards and the way oversight bodies will apply risk impact assessment. But here we see also very interesting challenges, because we started some capacity building on this matter, on sectoral approach. And if we take human rights cascade, and so cascade of introduction, for example, of AI tools in the public sector, which will be using it, and in the end also responsible legally for the use of AI tools, we see that the questions which have to be asked, whether on the data, it's whether data is robust or not, data quality and other related issues to data, whether the questions could be asked on scalability of damage or they would depend a lot on the context. And I think it's very important also when the standards are developed. I will give you just two examples. So one, we ran recently this risk impact assessment in the context of again human rights risk impact assessment in the context of judicial context, and specifically cybercrime. And another one we are preparing now for the health sector. So for example, the issue of transparency and explainability of AI tool would be perceived completely different by law enforcement or judicial sector and health sector, because for the health sector, the explainability would not be the most problematic issue as such, as in the end, the tool could be used to heal the human beings and could give a good results in its application. Then the question of data would be, and quality of data and potential discrimination of data, especially on design level, will be problematic. However, if we talk about judicial sector, the issue of explainability will be the priority for human beings using the tool, and even for the trust in this tool in this sector, because it would strongly affect the point of electronic evidence, or just simply evidence which will be presented in the court, and in the end the whole issue of judicial cooperation, if we talk about transborder cooperation, for example. So for this context assessment from the perspective of human rights impact, or from impact on rule of law, which was more in case of judiciary sector, would be extremely important to take into consideration when the tools are designed, developed, but also designed and developed for deployment, especially in public sector. So this is why we would not say that the issue of trust is from what we see from the discussions with the public sector is very important, and is very important from the perspective of accountability, which would come later on the use of AI tools. With this, I will stop here because I was the last speaker, and I would like to leave the space for discussion. But I would be very happy to build upon this intervention and to talk to discuss with previous speakers all these matters. Thank you very much.